please subscribe to help you and your motorcycle perform better. We'll let the bike settle down. The front is going to be the uppercut. The back is going to be the second kid on the trampoline. It will transmit all of that bump, every bit of it, through to the rider. Dun dun dun! A brand new 2022 Yamaha R7. Very interesting. Don't know a whole lot about it yet, other than what's been provided through the press releases about the motorcycle. But we have one, and we're going to take a look at this in detail right now. But want to make something clear right from the get-go. In terms of this motorcycle, after we've done the showroom review, Mr. Williams will be breaking it in with the stock settings. They will not be changed. Sag will not be set to his weight. We want to see how the bike performs with zero changes off the showroom floor, because 80% of you that ride and buy this bike will do the same thing. That being said, the DMT hardcore fans will be out with tape measures, screwdrivers, and changing everything up right out of the gate. But we want to do it the way that most people are going to do it when they buy this bike. They'll just break it in as soon as possible, as quickly as possible, get it into the dealership, get the oil change done, get that part of the warranty over and done with, and then go play with it. To all intents and purposes, allegedly the same chassis, completely restyled, and obviously a lot of extra bodywork on the bike, including a nice, tiny, dainty headlight along with the blue offset decal. We also have, in regards to that, some air scoops up here in the front. Through the dash, if we go up top, our handlebars appear to be bolted into place here. We have a non-adjustable clutch. It is adjustable for angle, so that's good, so we got that adjustment. Now on the brake side, the master is bolted to the triple on the top side, which means if this is bolted, this brake line has no free play in it at all. So we cannot move that brake lever down very much whatsoever. Really nice touch on putting the throttle cables up top out of the way so we can do some angling of the brake lever. But my feeling is, just you can see from here without even sitting on the bike, the angle is completely wrong. Brake lever is fully adjustable, so that's great. So we've got our little adjuster here. So there's some things we could do here. There's maybe a big problem there with the reservoir and not allowing us to get our usual straight arm throughout, and having to do this for the time being. We have hugely long shift rod for adjustability. We have these massive peg feelers, and generally speaking, those, as we found with most Yamahas, when you touch this down, you're actually on the edge of the stock tire. It has its purpose and it has its use. It would appear that the rear set is not adjustable for up, down, backwards, or forwards. So that's not going to help us. Now on the shock, in here, we have our typical ramp adjuster. So straight up, straight down. And then, as per latest generations of the FCO or MT07, we have our rebound adjuster on the back. Rear brake is adjustable. We have our usual standard here from the lock nut. So this would have to be disengaged, this lock nut or this position here, because that looks like it's captive. Maybe it's not. No, it's not captive. That would let us get our foot angle here correct. But again, looking at it, not movable. And then on the front forks, the only adjustment we have is, for a change, everything. We get our preload adjuster. It says 10 on the cap, so this is rebound, and then it says COM on the cap on this side for compression. So the front end is fully adjustable, which is great. As far as the seat goes, sitting at the way back, that's nice and flat. As soon as you come here, it wants to shove you all the way forward till your groin, for us gentlemen, until the crown jewels touch the tank, and that is where the seat is pushing us into. Now, it looks long, So natural seating position, and it's right in the ballpark. 22.5 to 22.5 inches, which is right around 570 millimeters. So standard but slightly longer reach on the bars. As far as the bars go, if I'm here, it automatically forces my shoulder blade out. So if I come in tighter there, just a little bit narrower grip, my shoulder blades don't come apart at all, and that's pretty comfortable. That being said, the shape of the knuckles does not match the shape of the bar. And the other part is, if you look closely, my hand tilts diagonally that way to make myself comfortable, because the bar belongs on the heel of my hand, like both sport bike bars. Now, as far as that goes, with the diagonal hand coming this way, finger out, well, with the clutch not being adjustable for my hand, it fits perfect because the last digit of the second finger hangs down. In terms of going and getting the angle, I have to come up to clear it, and you can see the clear angle in my hand, so the clutch is too high for me. Now, if you've got a shorter spine than mine and your arm angle is down more like that, everything will line up. So if you're really tall, you're going to have a big angle in your hand with the clutch. If you're a little on the shorter side, then you might actually line up perfect here with your elbow dropping down. On the brake side, off the showroom floor, the brake is actually higher than the clutch, visually. We've got our breakaway here in the middle of the lever. Usually it's on the end, so we lose the ball and not a chunk of the lever. But if it's a breakaway here, at least we still have a nubby. So as far as that goes, hand position is going to be just the same as the clutch. Coming to get the brake lever, my fingers are too close, so I have to accelerate into my braking situation. Now, if I put my fingers away on the brake lever, the gap is much closer. That's why the lift and the rollback is so much more accentuated on the right hand. And if it's adjustable, the brake lever needs to go to there, because right now it's on the middle knuckle. So definitely needs to come down. And as I talked about in the introduction, our brake master cylinder being bolted to the triple clamp means that this hose, if we want to tilt this down quite a fair way, is going to probably need to be longer. The other part is, if Dave comes inside here, because I'm going to reach through on the back, our banjo and master cylinder is here on this side, but there's not a whole gap, a big gap there. Let's go ahead and move the electrical cable up out of the way. There's not a huge gap there, given the master cylinder line at the top, to go ahead and roll the master cylinder down. So we're limited in two ways. One, by the metal piece on the banjo, and two, the brake line. Angle here, seat. Well, my heel feels like in this position, my heel's coming up. Let's do it properly. Where's that tape measure? Because you want the joint of your ankle right on your ball and socket joint. That's straight, so there's my ball and socket. So actually at the moment, my ankle is in front of that joint, so that's going to put some stress on my knee, and my inseam is 30 inches, which is 77 centimeters. So this is too far forward. If I want it to correct it and put it there, look what happens to my knee. We'll look at that and get that correct. Now let's focus on my knee, and when I want to put my feet where they belong, watch what happens to my knee. But look where the thigh fits into the tank. So if my lower leg was just slightly longer, I'd be able to fit into the groove of the tank here perfectly. But right now the ball of my foot is on the peg, and that allows me to get into the tank and fit it very well. Brake lever, that's an acute angle, very acute angle, so for my inseam that's going to have to go down. Because remember, when we're doing this, we want an angle of over 90 degrees as your maximum angle. Then more is easier on your ankle and foot. But for that to there, it's too acute. So we need to drop the brake lever. Let's switch over to the shifter side. Okay, so foot under where I want it, right there. So that feels like it's in the middle of my arch. Well, it's not far away from the heel, but it's in the middle. So if I go to the top of the stroke and hold it, there, that's tight here on the muscle. Yeah, that's tight. So again, the shifter needs to come down. If we put that and go on top, like the brake, actually this is more severe than the brake. This actually is physically painful to do that. And I have a size 9 shoe, which is a Euro 43, I believe. So underneath, not too bad, but on top, absolutely not going to work. In doing that and adjusting the shifter, we don't know if we're going to run out of thread or run the thread in and have less when we adjust it, but we'll find that when we get to it. Let's take a look at settings. We'll start with the front forks. Obviously, we've got our fork height here. Now looking carefully at it, you can't see a line that's visible. So we don't know if there are lines engraved in the fork like all the other Yamaha models to show us line 1, line 2, line 3 for fork position. We do have lines on our gold preload adjuster. 2.5 strokes, yeah. Now for that high-speed bump, we'll let the bike settle down. So, the front is going to be the uppercut, the back is going to be the second kid on the trampoline. So over big bumps, it will transmit all of that bump, every bit of it, through to the rider. Tire pressure, is there a sticker? I don't see one. There's no sticker. So we have to go read and find out what the cold pressure is from the dealership. I know everybody's going 3642. What if you're wrong and it is 34 front, 38 rear? So now what we've got to do is figure out the sag numbers with rider weight on. Current weight, please, Mr. Williams?
175, Dave.
It's supposed to be 160.
I know.
Okay.
Just keep not getting thinner.
Okay. So you are at 117 exactly. Get ourselves going here while everybody sets up for Pacific Track Time this weekend, where we'll be shooting the tire test for the Hypersport 4 brands that we've been using. So first thing that I noticed right away sitting on the bike and sitting correctly is with my riding boots on, I'm quite happy to have my heels against the foot pegs, and that's much more comfortable.
Catch the full video at davemosstuning.com.